Hey guys, I got a Husqvarna 125B blower. Um, Last week it wouldn't start, and so I took it apart to see what the cause of it was, and ended up it was both the gas lines going to the primer bulb had broken, and I was going to show make a little video on how to get to the gas lines there for the primer bulb. First on the back, you're gonna let me take this piece off the blower here, make it easier. Took that off the pipes just to make it a little easier to show you. Um, First off, to get to it, um, take the cover off the air filter here in the back. This just unscrews and it comes right off. Just set it to the side. Air filter, it's kind of molded, so it sits right in there. Take that off too. Um, in the back here, two nuts holding it on. Just take a nut driver, 8mm nut driver. Take these off. There we go. Set the two nuts to the side. Um, I was using it, so I had it go on there. Then turn it around here to your pulley side. Take, you got 4 here. Um, this is 5/32. I usually just leave them sitting there, so if you have to take a bunch off, you know where they go back. Well, there's really not many on here. You got this 4, and then you got another 3. I'll show you up here. One thing, whenever I did notice it was my gas lines. I went to a department store, back to the store, and they had gas lines over by the weed eaters and blowers and stuff. Um, these are the other 3 here you're going to take off. So I went back there, looking at they had pre-packaged in a box some of the gas lines, but it was only like this size, that little bit, and they wanted, I don't know, $5 for it. Set these to the side. So then I was like, well, maybe back by plumbing, where they sell the piping and stuff, pipes and the Apex. Thought maybe to have some back there. So I went back there and looked, and They did. They have fuel line back there by plumbing. Now, this is what I ended up getting. Um, it's micro fuel line. It's the same size that came off. This whole thing was, I think, $7 or $8, 10 feet of it. Now, if I would have just bought that one box to replace the one, I wouldn't have had enough. But, you know, it's good to have this around because it gets old and it cracks. So, definitely worth the buy if you want to walk back to plumbing and pick it up. From this point, this will pop right off now. Just set it to the side. Now, if you look here, right here's your fuel lines going to your primer bulb. Those two are the ones that corroded on me and just snapped. And going into here, one goes here, and the other. Let me see if I can get this off. The other goes down into the fuel tank, down in here. Let me see. You can see that. But see, the one for me that broke first was this one here. Now I would suggest if one cracks on you, you might as well do both of them. Just because the other one is going to be right behind it and you're going to have to fix it anyway. So it'd be best to do it all at once. I'd replace both of those gas lines to a primer bulb. That way you don't have to do this, you know, 2 times or whatever. And it's pretty easy to do. They just slip right on, and then you push it right back on there. Now when you do this, it is like you've seen the trigger come off there. It is good to take everything apart. So you would also take the trigger off here, and I try to keep everything same direction. So you work this off, and it just slides right off. And I lay it down in the same direction so you know. And those are your 2 gas lines going. You're going to replace this one, and then replace your main one going into your gas tank. Now on the gas tank, there is, right here you can see it, this black rubber plug right here. Only thing you have to do is put a screwdriver on it like I'm doing and just work it up, and it'll pop right out. Now see how the gas line's going in? You can just pull it right there, and there's a little plastic piece that the gas line plugs into, and you just plug right into it and push it in just like you do on over here when you unplug from the primer bulb. It just pushes right in, and that's it. It'll stay connected because it really doesn't move any. So once you do it, just replace them. And also, I mean, if you bought the pre stuff, I don't know if you have enough tubing, you know, if it's long enough or whatever. So if you go and get this, you'll have extra tubing for blower, weed eater, you know, whatever. So it's pretty simple to get to. Put it back together here. So, and if something doesn't fit, don't force it. Just undo it and try to get a fresh start on it. Now on me, from this point, I take the nuts and I put the nuts back in here to hold this back together. So take your nut driver and just tighten these back up. So then, you know, everything is connected up here. all this is one carburetor and everything. Don't have to lay it down, but let's put this back on there too. And just hold it there and you can see it going. Let me pull it. Alright, same thing. If it doesn't fit perfectly, don't force it. It should just slide right on. And one thing I do notice, this piece, if you look here, it needs to grab inside the plastic mold. So just push it on there. Make sure the handle's nice and firm, which it is. And now you can tighten it all up. Start with these three first. Basically the opposite of how you took it off. Just do it the same way backwards. And I wouldn't suggest using a drill or anything to put this, tighten them up, tighten all the screws up, because all this is pretty much plastic. And if you over tighten, it's gonna crack something. And it's just better do it by hand. It might take a little more time, but if you break something, crack something, it just ain't worth it. Just take your time. And plus, doing it by hand, you can feel when it gets tight. Alright, and you got your air filter. Again, if you look here, there's a little piece sticking out. It goes right in the hole here for your air filter. So, I mean, you can't put, if you put it on that way, it's not going to fit. So make sure you'll get that little hole, pop it on there, and it fits right in there. You need to clean it. And put your cover back over. Tighten it down. And let me get the other parts of the tube on here. And if you do decide to take the tube off, it's just, I mean, it makes it a little easier to work with. Let's see. You got here on the tube, it lines up, so when you take your T-bolt off there, push it back in, it lines back up right there, and just tighten it down. That's the only thing that attaches that. And then your other piece, which it just slides right on in the grooves. See how that is. On the bottom you should have some too. And you can just lock it. Whatever how you want to do it. Do it up, down, sideways. Just do it downward. Alright, now let's prime her up. See if she starts. Alright, she started up. Um, Thanks for watching. Have any comments or questions, just drop them in the bottom. I'm going to try to make a couple videos. I live in Florida, so hurricane season started. Probably my next thing to do is to get the generator out. I always make sure it starts before any hurricanes get out there, anything, just to make sure. So that'll probably be my next video, and might do a couple more other videos. But or if there's anything you'd like to see or what, I got my workshop. All right, thanks for watching.